All right, so back once again into this concept of trust. I'm working out of the encyclopedia here, the Universal World Reference Encyclopedia. This is like a 1950s issue, 1955 copyright, all right? And so, again, this is a very important sentence to me. The party establishing the trust is variously called the donor, the creator, the settler, the truster, or the founder. And it reminds me of I've got a quotation here in front of me. This is by Frank Zappa, Mothers of Invention. Maybe some of you know Zappa. Here's the quote. The illusion of freedom in America will continue for as long as it is profitable to continue the illusion. At the point where the illusion becomes too expensive to maintain, they will just take down the scenery. They'll move the tables and chairs out of the way. Then they will pull back the curtains and you'll see the brick wall at the back of the theater. The illusion of freedom in America. Another resource that you might check out is www.the-legacy.info. The-legacy.info. Now, I received a first part of several of these parts. This is called The Legacy. And what they're trying to do, the authors here are trying to do, the presenters, are to show that the legal construction of the Constitution, the laws of the time, the language of the time, the preamble as an express trust instrument, property and its transfers to bodies, politics, and it goes through alienations, transfers, testimony, instruments, mortmain, Magna Carta, inheritance, birthrights, estates, freehold, allodium, fee simple, estates by purchase, life estates, uses, charitable uses, grants, inheritances, estate of liberty, and trusts. So we talk about trusts. It has something to do with something we don't know about, but that our founders were creating as creators for us, settlers, trustors, in God we trust, the founders, capital F, right? All men are created equal by their creator. How did they get created? Well, some say, well, that's the creator. Our rights come from God, do they, or did they come from Washington? That would be George. Or the people that signed up, wrote up the Declaration of Independence. They were the creators, were they not, of this country? When Cristobal Colombo stepped out and stuck his sword and spear and flag in the ground and claimed everything that, for as far as I could see and beyond, for Ferdinand and Isabella and the Pope, they were settling. They were opening by discovery. They were conquering this land, even though they hadn't really killed anyone yet, but that was about to start. Anyway, maybe when the boys settle into Tripoli and come ashore in the landing crafts, we will have conquered Libya again. But it goes back to Tripoli, remember? In the halls of Montezuma and all that, to the shores of Tripoli. But the right of a beneficiary, let's back up a little, Will. Sometimes the equitable title of the beneficiary, sometimes the obligations of the trustee, and sometimes the right held is called the trust. There's different ways of looking at it, what would be the trust. But the right of a beneficiary is in the trust. The obligation of the trustees results from the trust. And the right held is the subject matter of the trust. Important. If it goes over your head, just go back, listen to the archives, zoom forward to the second hour and pick it up there. Altogether, they can constitute the trust. These are elements. Got to be there. In a more technical sense, a trust is the right, enforceable, solely in a court of equity, spoke about that yesterday, to the beneficial enjoyment of property of which the legal title is in another. Of course, we've talked about John Locke in the past. Life, liberty, and property, Lockean point of view. Our founders, our creators, who said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they took property out of it. It is sufficient if it clearly appears that there was an intention to create a trust or to confer a benefit best carried out by means thereof. What do they mean here? All right? No particular or technical words are required to create a trust. It is merely sufficient if it clearly appears that there was an intention to create a trust or to confer a benefit carried out by means thereof. So it doesn't have to come out looking like a contract between you and the lawyer. And there's a variety of different kinds of trust here. It talks about an express trust. Let's go into that one a little bit. Trusts are divided with regard to the manner of their creation into two classes, express and implied. Something that's express is written. Something that's implied is just implied. You can infer it. Express trusts are those that which are created by the direct and positive acts of the parties, by some writing or by word of mouth. It's expressed. Express trusts are usually found in preliminary sealed instruments such as marriage articles or articles for the purchase of land, informal conveyances such as marriage settlements, terms for years, mortgages or assignments for payments of debt, and in wills and testaments when the requests involve fiduciary interest for private benefit or public charity. The distinction between a private and a public charitable trust is that the former is created and intended for the convenience and support of private individuals or families, while the latter is created and intended for the general public good. Greatest good is the greatest number. Now you can go up and look on the website. I think it's adask.wordpress.com. Adask, adask.wordpress.com. Alfred Adask. I enjoy listening to his broadcast. Knowledgeable fellow. He's been interviewing good guests lately, digging into the bottom of all of this. And find out more from his writings. He really studies the law. He's been at it for a long time. But one of the things that Al brings forward is that there's a difference, and we're not even aware of it, the difference between the state and this state. And the state is the one that we stand on. We live in, our flesh and blood men live there. And this state is this legal fiction. The U.S. citizen is in this state. The flesh and blood man that bleeds and gets hungry and has to pee, he lives in the state. And everything has been done that can be done in law, just like Frank Zappa said, to create this illusion of freedom. Everything that has been done that can be done in law to force you and to keep forcing you back, to repen you up, back into this state. And unfortunately, by our own actions, by our own signatures, by our own words, we keep coming back into this system. And learning how to break this will be very, very useful as we go in further to the 21st century. So we'll spend time on it and find out a little bit more. But these trusts are really, there's a lot going on here. So on the one hand, we've got the express trusts, and then we have implied trusts. Implied trusts are those which arise by the operation of law from the deeds, wills, contracts, acts, or the conduct of the parties, either with or without their intention. You didn't even know. You didn't even know. I mean, you just went in and got a Social Security number because you wanted to work at Safeway. You just went in and signed up and got your driver license, man, because you wanted to drive that car. A 67 Camaro. I want to go out on Friday night. I got a date.